Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm NFX and today we're at Goodwood Kartways for our very first race of the season. This is actually an expedition race, so it doesn't count towards any points of the championships. So today we're really coming in and trying to practice. And right here, I'm going to be going through a fast qualifying lap, and this was able to land me P1 into the race. But I just want to preface that this is my practice lap that's being shown on camera. I wasn't able to get the full footage for some reason, wasn't able to record during my qualifying, but this should mimic a faster time than the time that I had on qualifying for you here. So as this wraps up on the final corner, we'll get right into the race. Okay, now we're right into the race. This was really great because this was the first race of the season, so you can see here I'm slowing down quite heavily for everyone to kind of catch up and play bumper cars at the start, and we're off into the first corner. Here, just because I'm starting off, I'm trying to break away from the crowd as much as possible. It's important here to make sure that you try to break off, especially when you have a lead or you're in the higher positions from the crowd, because the first couple laps are probably most important since many of the people that drive make up most of the positions on the first couple laps here. So you can see that I am consistently checking my rear just to see who's behind me, how close they're behind me, and should I be expecting anyone to overtake me or compete. Now that we're going into lap number 2, I just want to say, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, please hit the subscribe button. It gives me the support, the following, the justification to keep doing these videos, and I hope you enjoy the content that I do, and I'd love to know maybe things that you'd rather see or ways I can improve, but I'm always here to listen to your feedback. But if you do like the content that I'm sharing, please subscribe, because I'm going to try to upload as frequent as I can, especially when I'm on track. So I didn't really mention this earlier, but I was able to qualify P1 with a 40.4, which in hindsight is not a quick lap. However, for the temperature and time of year it is right now, since it's a little bit colder, it is definitely better than usual. I was able to do a 40.1 during my practice session in another kart, so being in that 40 range during this time of year, since it's a little bit colder, was kind of on par with a lot of other drivers. There was maybe one other driver in our whole session that was able to do a 39, and I believe it was like a 39.9 or a 39.8, so not much movement from the 40 that I was kind of seeing during this race. But I think what we'll see, especially for the new drivers that are coming in, is that as the months go on and the weather gets hotter, we can see lap times go from 40 to 39 to 38, and with some people even hitting 37 seconds per lap. So this is just a good benchmark as we go on, and also as like your skill builds up, you see a lot more times decrease further down the line. So if you're not happy with your lap times, I'm sure over time, especially with more practice and as the temperature rises, you'll see quicker and quicker lap times. So if you're not initially seeing the results that you would want to see, I promise you, if you just be patient and keep working at it week after week, you'll see a lot of improvement by the end of the year. And if you have any like stories or any questions, like especially for those that are kind of new in their journey here, I'm sure you'll figure it out after the first year. But if you are looking for advice or just some guidance, feel free to like comment underneath this video, and I'll do my best to answer it, especially like if you're looking for tips and tricks. I can definitely understand coming into the sport and being maybe a little bit intimidated or not understanding the rules or the racing etiquette. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to drop them. But now that we're coming up on the final corner of lap 5 and just about to begin lap number 6, this is when things get a little bit more intense. Now, I've been holding P1 the entire time, and I've been able to stay consistent and not have any major mistakes. Maybe one or two that I noticed, very small ones. However, I can feel that P2 is creeping up behind me, and you can kind of get a peek of them here. I go on the inside to try to defend, and then I take a look on the right and see that they're on the outside. So I'm going to go as deep as possible and I'm going to expect him to do the switchback, but I just have a little bit more output coming out of that corner, and luckily I'm able to stay ahead in the straight here onto lap number 7. A really good tip for those that are starting off is using things on the track as your benchmarker, or even your own shadow and your opponent's shadow, to understand where they currently are. Obviously, I'm very locked in, I'm very focused, so I'm trying to see how far they are by looking to the right and my left to see where they are in the shadow. In this corner, I go super defensive and just try to see if I can make my opponent lose time by going defensive and making sure that I'm holding the inside line for both corners, but also being wide enough for them not to pass. Here, I keep it super tight, just making sure that this driver behind me doesn't try to pass me, so I can hold on for one more lap. So down the straight, I'm looking at the shadows behind me because I don't want to make full head rotation, and you can see me looking to the right, using the shadow as a marker to see how far they are behind me. Now coming into this next hairpin, I try to do the same move where I go super late and defensive, but I just overturn coming out of the corner, giving my opponent the edge coming out. I try to go on the inside line here because I've seen that work out very well in terms of getting position, but he's able to just pick up more speed down these final corners here. As we're coming onto lap number 9, this is my only opportunity to take back my spot, so what I'm going to do here is utilize as much slipstream as I can, especially in these straights. And you'll notice I'm getting a lot of speed being in his slipstream. P1 has built up a pretty big gap towards me now, especially in this final lap, which is obviously the most important, so I'm trying my best to close the gap, and you can kind of see this in the next few corners where my lines are just a little bit more clean. I don't know if he had a reference to where I was, but I'm definitely cleaning up my laps and getting closer and closer and closer, but just not enough track to make up the position for the race. I just want to say thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon.